Hello and welcome. We are back.
Yes, we are.
If you come in, yes, we are. Let me finish my intro. We are back to the Damn You're Tall podcast. We were off last week because we had a lot of shit to do because we're busy people. So welcome back. I am with your host, Felisha, a.k.a. Fifi J, along with Graham, a.k.a. Sir Beats.
Can I talk now, or is that breaking some sort of rule you didn't tell me?
You can go ahead and talk now.
Thank you for allowing me to talk. The first item on the list is our Gen Con update, which is that's 10 days left.
10 days left, baby. This time next week. Well, actually, yeah, because this will be coming out. No, it'll be coming out this Saturday. The following podcast, we'll be talking about Gen Con. Well, we'll be there. You know what I mean. 10 days left.
Yeah, and I made my Shadowrun character today, so I'm all set.
We're supposed to make one?
Well, we were just going to take the gadget, but leveled down.
Oh, okay. I was like, you didn't tell me this. You were planning things at Gen Con without. You jerk.
I don't see how I'm a jerk. I mean, I made sure. I told you to keep your... Felisha.
Anyway, so yes, there's 10 days left. We are starting to get a little bit more updates. I got an email about the pin bazaar, or like the pins that they sell, and you can trade there. There's like 3 pins that I really want. One looks like a guy with a foot head. He looks very like Chad-like. It looks funny to me. There's from a Goofy movie, if you ever seen that, there's one that says like the Powerline guy. And I was like, ooh, I like that. And then I think there's the dragon, the dragon shield? That one's pretty cool.
Yeah, they always have a pretty good one. And you point out, they always have a really long line, which is weird to me because Dragon Shield is just such a common product. It seems like just about everybody uses them. Maybe they have a special color that they have at Gen Con?
We went by there unless they were sold out, but they usually even show you the sold out. Like, is there like some exclusive one? Anybody that goes to Gen Con and that goes to the Dragon Shield stand, like that line is insanely long all the time. So I don't know if there is some exclusive thing. So
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could look it up, but I actually don't care enough about card sleeves to do the 30 seconds of effort it would take to determine what exactly is going on. So I'm just going to continue to speculate uselessly.
okay, we're getting closer, and I'm excited because that's something else to look forward to. Last week was very stressful, but before that, let's tell you where we were last week. This past weekend was my birthday.
See, this is why you don't need a soundboard. You provide everything yourself.
Yes, I can save my voice if you buy me a soundboard. That's what I want.
No, you're not getting it. Instead, you're getting Lego Harry Potter, which you did not expect. I surprised you.
Yes, you did. Graham went out and bought my gift like 3 weeks early, and he got me a Lego Harry Potter set. Actually, I have it right here. Hold on.
Yeah, it was the Harry Potter medical whatever.
It is the official Lego Harry Potter 8+, number 76398, Hogwarts trademark Hospital Wing, and there is 510 pieces. Because if you go back to our old podcast for Christmas, he got me some Lego Harry Potter, so I'm adding to my Lego collection because it's very soothing to build, and it's fun. It's just distracting. It's something else to do.
I mean, it does take a fair amount of attention, so we'll have to set up a Lego/painting. Well, I'll paint up some of these miniatures I've been sitting at my desk for months.
Oh, we could make something, just get some wood and make a shelf or something.
Yeah, we've had a stack of wood for several months that was going to be made into a shelf, and it's just kind of sat by the door.
Yeah, we need to get by that, but we were busy because last week I was in class for a whole week. I know we talked about it. I was in ITC instructor training course to be an instructor to teach level 1 and possibly level 2. And I had to do 3 presentations. I had to do a 5-minute, a 10-minute, and a 15-minute one in person. The first 2 were on Zoom. And I know you guys heard me talk about how terrible I felt like I did on all of them. I still feel like I did terrible on all of them, but I'm glad that is over. And I had to do a level 2 for jumps because I need another level 2. And your girl, let's just say I am not the best test taker. And like everything in the class, our group project went great. I had to demonstrate or like point out things wrong in a video, and I did good on that, surprisingly. And it's just this test. Like, okay, I'll go ahead and explain what happened. We had to log in. The test was online. It's open book, which may seem easy, but it's not. I got locked out twice, so I had like 30 minutes behind everybody, and there was other people that were behind, and I'm like super stressed out already about this test. By the time I get logged in, some people already finished, so I'm like, okay, now I have to like hurry up because I feel like I'm holding people back if I don't finish because we have that graduation ceremony at the end. So like 30 minutes behind, look at the test. Half the questions I don't even know. Some of the wording on those questions was very confusing. So I'm already like stressed out and like anxious. And then we have an hour and I was just like, I can't. Like I started running out of time. I had like 2 minutes left and I still had like, I don't know how many questions. I just basically started clicking and I was like, you know what? I'll just pay the $25 to retake this test because I don't want to have to hold people here. And that's basically what I have to do now. So I was stressed.
Yeah, you really were. That was a emotional roller coaster.
I am just not good. I hate that. I don't know why they have to have that. I'd rather have like little quizzes each day because if you don't know, level 2 is basically a more in-depth. Like level 1 is basically going over everything, which that could seem like a lot, but they don't go too into depth. It's very the bare minimum. So like everybody can understand it. Like if you want to get your level 1, and so a lot of people are not even coaches, they just want to help their understand it for their kid. But level 2 is more in depth, and you have to do a biomechanics thing, which I'm glad I didn't have to do that again because I've already taken a level 2 for throws. And like this one, it's like basically 3 days, and you have to cram in basically every event in more depth. So we spent 1 day learning every single event, and that it may seem like, oh, you have all day. Like, that's a lot of information coming at you because we go over more biomechanics in the classroom, not as in depth as we did, but still a lot. And just over a whole bunch of stuff. And there's 4 jumping events. You got long, triple, high jump, and pole vault we had to go over. And I'm just like, I don't think I'm going to pass this test. Like, I already knew because, first of all, it's a whole nother event. I was the only non-jumps person in that class. So I'm already at a disadvantage. I'm just like struggling. I was just like, hey, maybe it'll be interesting. I'm just like, at this point, I just want to pass the test so I can have that level 2. Cause, like I was the only non-jumped person, which is insane. I thought there might be a couple more, but nope. I was literally the only one.
Well, part of it too is they scheduled this right when Worlds was going on. So a whole lot of people that would have been in training were out there.
Well, a lot more people that would have been interested. And it was at Butler, so I got to stay at my parents' house. Luckily, I didn't stay on campus because people said those beds were terrible. Like, the quote-unquote fitted sheet they had was basically just like a sheet, not even fitted. And people were like, you turn over once, a guy said, and you were just like rolled up in it. And the food was horrible. It was not good at all. Like, the first day there, I was like starving. Like by the time I got to like dinner, and they had like some dry ass chicken, and I was like, I'm hungry, so I'm gonna eat it, but I don't like it. I'm glad my mom cooked and made gumbo those couple of days, so I got lucky. But yeah, I don't think they're ever gonna have it at Butler again because it was just not. Yeah, that wasn't the right move, and it was hot. Like, I'll tell you, like the last thing about this. Wednesday was probably my longest day. I was in like class on Tuesday, which was like half the day. We were there from basically 2 to 8. And then Wednesday I had to do like a demonstration for like the throws class and also get my practice in. So I woke up at like 4:30, got there at like 6. The class came down to the track at like 7, practiced for about an hour and showed them drills and stuff of like how my practice would go. And then they asked questions and all that. And I took pictures with some people. And then I had to go back to class. Didn't get to take a shower. I thought I might be able to, but I was just sitting in class, sweaty, gross, all day. And then for my class, we had to go back out to the track and do like a learn by do thing. for like an hour. And then we worked on our group project until like, I didn't get home until like 10 that night. So that was like the longest day. I was there for, how many hours is that?
15, 16 hours.
Yeah. So I was there all damn day. And I was just like, I'm tired. I hate it here. I'm so just dead. Like, I was knocked out. So that was like the longest day. But Thursday was better. And then Friday, you know, it was just basically group project presentations and then like tests. And then we had one other thing. And then I finally got to come home because Graham missed me. So yeah.
I did. I don't know why it's so strange that I missed my wife that I didn't see for an entire week. But I did miss her.
Yeah, because I left on Sunday and I got to stay in a fancy bougie hotel. Well, I don't know if it's super bougie, but I got free valet parking, which I was not, I didn't know how to like act. I just parked it. I was like, oh, I was looking for like parking because it was like downtown. And guys like, oh, are you with the USATF? I was like, yes. They're like, oh, it's free for them. I was like, oh, they gave me a valet ticket. I didn't even know what to do. I was like, oh, what? So that's how you know I'm poor. A lot of people, like, whenever I said they're like, yeah, they had valet parking. I'm not used to that. So everybody's like, we're track people. We're poor. So yes, it was a very long week, but glad that is over. I am back on my normal routine because that was just so much last week. But that is where we were last week.
Yep, but now we're back and we're doing the podcast again. So life's good, I guess.
Yes. I got my upgrade. I got Legos. I got cake. I got steak yesterday.
She got steak 2 days in a row.
Yes, because we went to Costco and they give you 4 steaks and there's 2 of us. So we had 2 steaks in 2 days, which may sound bougie, but if you break down the cost, it was like $10 a steak, which is very cheap.
And we had like the first day we had 2.5 pounds of onions, and the next day we had closer to 5 pounds of onions.
Nah, that wasn't like 2 pounds. You only made like 4.
No, it was a 5-pound bag, and I used half the onions.
Oh, but those in the bag were way smaller, and I told him about it because I got extra onions. So yes, it was a nice, relaxing week, and I enjoyed it. And that leads us. We got a couple questions. Okay, you don't get to do that.
All right, so our first question was emailed to us by my brother. And his question is, I was a high school athlete, so I have some experience with competition in the JERS before. Was there a point that became a job for Felisha, or is it still exciting and fresh every time you compete?
Ooh, everybody likes to know this question. So, like, I used to get nervous a lot, and, like, I know I didn't show it, like, in my head. Like, in high school, like, before a big meet, especially because, you know, people are like, oh, you're supposed to win. So I would get, like, nervous. But I'd, like, after I get, like, my first throw off, like, back then, I was, like, cool. So then I could, like, relax. And, like, college, it was a little bit because everybody was, like, I was, like, one of the best athletes on the team. So people were, like, looking at me all the time. But, again, like, once I got that first throw off, I was, like, chill. Especially if I was, like, feeling good that day. Like, not so much now, like earlier in my career as a professional, not so much, and really not so much now. Like, get the jitters. I'm just kind of like chill. Like, I was more serious, I think, like when I was like younger, so I was like more nervous. Now I'm kind of like, this is supposed to be fun. Why am I doing this if it's not fun anymore? So, because you don't get to do this every day, and it's like a once in a lifetime thing. So, yeah, especially like if I just go to a meet now, like, I'm off people's radars, which is nice. So I'm just going in there to fuck shit up. Like, I'm going up there to make people mad, and because people counted me out, and I'm like, you know what, I'm here to have fun. Like, it is what it is. Especially like when I made the team in 2016, I wasn't supposed to make it, so I just ruined people's day. That's kind of nice to me.
All right, another question from him is...
Oh, wait.
Oh,
You
sorry.
were an athlete. You don't want to talk about your experience in high school about sports?
I don't really remember, honestly. I probably got really nervous. See, the thing is, okay, I should tell everyone. I started wrestling when I was in 5th grade, and I eventually stopped wrestling when I was a junior in high school. I was never committed enough to the sport to be any good. You know, and So, I did it. I'd show up. I'd wrestle JV meets. I get bumped from the JV roster, did not even be on in the rotation, doing exhibition stuff like that. Yeah, so I remember being nervous for when we were at conference, because for some reason I wrestled at conference. Um,
I mean, that's kind of a big deal.
well, I just say for some reason because I would, I would have assumed I would have been somebody better, but well,
No confidence in yourself. Come on, you wrestled at conference. It's better than some people.
I mean, I wrestled at conference as single A. I wasn't double A. So that one I do remember being nervous, and then I went in and I dominated that match somehow.
Then I dominated that match. Come on, man.
So I remember being nervous. That one what I really remember is I somehow, when I was wrestling, I busted up my nose. I started bleeding all over the place. So they started the blood clock, and I cleaned off my nose. I stuffed some cotton up there, and then I had to clean off my hands because I'd used my hands to stop the nose from bleeding. So I went in and I scrubbed it pretty intently, and apparently that caused mom and dad to almost have a heart attack because they were like, "What is he doing? He's running out his blood clot." But in my brain, I was going, "Oh, I just need to make sure that there's no blood on my hands so they don't call another stoppage." So yeah, that was that was that.
I will say, now that I coach and I think I get more nervous for them. Like, now I know how Larry feels when I'm competing, because I'm pretty sure he's my coach, so he wants me to do the best, and I'm pretty sure he gets nervous and makes sure I do things right. I mean, he's a seasoned coach, but still, there's still when we go into meets. But when we're going to normal meets, I'm just kind of I want them to do the best. But when we're going to conference and stuff, I felt so nervous for them. I was I kept it together on the outside, but inside, when they were competing, I was like, okay, make sure you're sitting back, make sure you keep it. I was like, oh, when they found, oh my god, this is how Larry feels. So I get that. I feel more nervous as a coach. I'm pretty sure it'll eventually shake itself out, and I'll just be like, come on now, whatever. But right now, I'm still early in my coaching career, and I'm like, oh my god, please do not scratch. No, you should have said that. So yeah, I get more nervous as a coach, I think, as an athlete.
Well, and as far as the scratching and fouls, you also know what it feels like to be the family supporting you, where we all just have heart attacks and die in the stands when you foul.
Yeah, ask my parents. They know. They've seen everything. So yeah, I think I'm more nervous as a coach than an actual athlete now, because it's you're not doing it. You can't control what they do.
I will say, when I was wrestling, our coaches used to scream instructions at us while we were wrestling. I never heard a word they said.
Yeah, see, that's why, people are oh, you should be used to, talking in front of people. You should read the presentation. It's different when you're competing because you ignore everyone. People are staring at you, but I don't, when we go to Indy, there's, 50 million people in the background, staring. I ignore all those people looking at me, and I just compete. So, yeah.
Wrestling's a little bit different since it's an oppositional sport, and you got two athletes competing at the same time. I was just too focused on the other guy. And I did only wrestle, well, I guess we were boys then, although in junior high there was an opportunity to wrestle a girl, but she declined the match. I think she was used to walking into matches, and then the boys she was competing against would forfeit because they didn't want to be seen as losing to a girl.
Oh, that whole thing? Oh, God.
And I was legitimately whatever. Okay, I'll wrestle her.
So, yes. What's the next question?
The next one was, when did Felisha realize she was a professional?
You look at me because I'm laughing. I remember, I didn't used to wear tights. This is just a funny joke. My coach was like, you gotta start dressing like a professional. I was like, okay, that means wearing tights now. I used to wear basketball shorts, all the way up until, senior year of college. I wore, basketball shorts. The only time I wore tights was when I competed. And then I had, the tights, the short, running shorts, the little swishy things. I had those on top. I don't know why I did that now that I think about it. I did that in high school and then in college. I don't know why. I just like, oh, this looks pretty cool. I'm hip. And now I just wear tights literally all the time. No hard pants for me. But on like a serious note, like when I knew I became a professional, when I like started competing, like against like, you know, Michelle Carter, Valerie Adams, like the top like athletes, and like went overseas the first time, not like to Russia, but like to Europe. And then I met Valerie Adams and she knew me. That's when I knew I was like, oh my God. Cause I modeled like I used to watch her in high school and I was like, I want to throw like her, you know, she's tall, she's awesome. She's a beast. She's like, just launched the shit out of it. That's when I knew I was like a professional. Like, not even when I got paid and all that stuff or like got Nike stuff. Like, that's nice. But when like the top athletes that you were watching know your name and know you, I think that was when I was like a professional. I was like, oh my God. Like, and just like competing overseas, I felt like super important.
Well, so yeah, so I met Felisha after she was out of college and been a pro for a while. So to me, Felicia's always been a professional athlete because that's the only way I've ever known her, which is going to require whatever. So she's always been a professional.
Yes, you met me on fancy times when I was like living it up and not eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches trying to make money.
There's nothing wrong with eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
That struggle, the professional life, people don't know about that, about track athletes. They're like, oh, they just see the good stuff like at Worlds. I'm like, you don't know that real struggle. trying to get those grants and stipends from USATF. I was like a half an inch from 60 feet and they wouldn't give it to me. Like, nope, you got to hit the standard. And I was like, all right. My first outdoor meet, boop, I finally hit it. And then they were like, okay, here's grant money now. There you go. I'm like, the struggle, man. But yeah.
Yeah, and then you'd hear about other countries where they actually support their professional athletes from the government, and here we're at to scrape together stuff.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. But I was about to say, do you have a question when you knew you were a professional?
Sometime, as far as journalism, sometime in college, actually, because in college you have the same rules and protections that a full-on professional journalist has. I think that was when I first made that transition. I don't know if I ever had a moment where I was like, oh, I mean, I had moments where I was like, haha, this is cool. I get to be in the press box. Haha. There's a special box on the Illinois State House. There's a special box just for reporters. And I was like, haha, I get to be in here and you don't. Ha 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 ha. But no, I never really had a moment where I was like, you know, it was nice that there was a line specifically, like people who had to answer my questions, you know, stuff like that. That was nice. But I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. So yes, hopefully that answers your question. See, this is why you need to send us some questions at damnyourtallpod@gmail.com. Unless there's any more.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, okay, never mind. Retract that. Go ahead.
There's one more question from my brother. What was the transition from, well, he mentions two transitions. From high school to college. Well, yeah. You know, just talk about that. What was that transition like?
High school to college?
Mm-hmm.
Besides like the normal general thing of your parents don't like, you know, check up on you like you're an adult.
Mm-hmm.
So like you had to do all that stuff, like manage your time management. That's why I think I have good time management. Just in like even in high school, I think I had good time management because like I was an athlete, so I had certain things. I had regiments. Like I had to go to practice after school. I had to go to this, and then I had a game, or then that. So like in college, it was like, all right, you're on your own. But I'm like, okay, I can manage my time, which some people is very hard. It was not very hard for me because I have also, you know, there's quote unquote coaches looking after you, but they're like, you're still an adult. They make sure you go to class, but other than that, they're like, we don't keep track of you outside. Make sure you don't do anything stupid. Like when you're out of our like eye line, it's like, don't do anything stupid. You're an adult. But like just that transition was not very hard. And it wasn't like super hard to make friends because I was on the team.
Well, if you'd been in football, do you think there would have been more hand-holding?
I don't know too much about football, maybe. But like for track, It was kind of show up to practice. I just made sure I was at practice. That's what, like, they're paying me. I wanted to make sure I kept my scholarship. That was another thing. I was on a full ride, so I wanted to make sure I kept my scholarship and score points so I wouldn't lose it. That was the main thing.
All right, and then the other one is what was the? I'll ask full detail. Did how you prepared for and compete? Did that really change at all? Because you were already competing at a high level in high school.
You mean just like competition wise? Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because in high school we did have a good conference, but I got more competition like in college because you're competing the best of the best, at least in college. So yeah, it did go up from there. Because, it's the best of the best. It's not like, because in high school, it's kind of everybody, like, no matter what kind of, because track is like, we'll take anybody. But in college, it's like, we want the quote-unquote best of the best. Even with the best people, there's still people that aren't that good.
Right. So I imagine you went from blowing out competitions where Felisha was just winning everything to suddenly actually having real competition then.
Yeah. My freshman year, like, I didn't make it to nationals, like, or anything. That's when I was like, all right, I know what it takes. That's when everything clicked and I was never left off. Like, I've never gotten left off a conference roster, a regional, nationals, indoor or outdoor after that.
All right, and then the other transition you want to talk about was when you left college and went into professional throwing. As far as, like, what was that transition like?
Oh, I'll keep this one short. Basically, that you don't have people doing things for you, like people scheduling a hotel room, a flight, like meets. Like, I do all that now. I am my travel agent. I book my hotel, I book my flights, I make sure I'm at meets, like figuring out my own schedule. Like, that is like the main thing. Like, you don't have people. Basically, I remember I was talking to Loggy. She's just got out of college last year. She's like, the transition is crazy because it's like, once you're out of the college system, you're like, okay, good luck. You're on your own now. Like, if you don't know how to do anything, sucks for you. And I'm like, yeah, like, I never booked an airplane ticket myself until, like, I was out of college. Because I had people do it for me. Like, the coaches would do it. So, it's not that hard. Like, now it's just super easy, but
it's still something you've got to learn.
Yeah, so, like, in, like, booking like, Chris will test if he ever listens to this. He actually didn't book his ticket on the right day. So yeah, you got to make sure you're looking at stuff like just that transition of basically you're doing everything. You're like a head coach of your own self. You got to make sure your ticket's booked, make sure you let your coach know, make sure all your shit is together. Like, once I like it wasn't that bad, but that's kind of like, if you're not used to that, like especially at the bigger schools, people do that for you. Like, transportation. How you going to get to your hotel from, like, the track or anything? Like, now we got Uber, but, like, stuff like that.
And then there was one question for me.
Oh, finally, yes. Should I read it? Oh, no, it's in your handwriting.
It's in my handwriting, and also it's severely truncated, so it's not going to make any sense to you, because it says, me, transitions, groups, pandemics.
Oh, God, yeah.
And also, the transitions is written really badly, and I think you would get me, trans... And you probably guessed that was an L. That's a T, but it looks kind of like an L. It's the bottom one. I'm handing her the paper.
Oh, God. Me, Trent, Grape. What the hell is this? I need to take a picture of this so they can see it. I'm going to take a picture of this when the episode comes out so you can see what he wrote. This is ridiculous. Go ahead. Read it.
All right. Anyways, what the actual question was asking me about the transitions I've made between groups. And also possibly what the pandemic did. The pandemic pretty easily, it killed in-person gaming, and I have never been very good at online gaming, even with players that I knew in person. It's just too easy to get distracted, and it's not as fulfilling to not have your players present. As far as I figured out the golden system to finding an RPG group, and by golden I mean not very effective, but it seems to work, and that's you find your local game store, and you show up for Magic, and then you tell everyone that you're not actually there to play Magic, you're actually there to play RPGs until eventually the word gets out that you're looking for RPGs. Also, what can help is, I did this in Robinson, Illinois, was put up a sheet with your phone number on it to tell people, hey, I am interested in doing this, and you'll have people show up. And it's one of those things that success begets success, and then you wind up, especially if I tended to have games in the shops that is found it to be easier, and then I didn't have to clean my house, which Felisha will tell you I am not a very good house cleaner.
No, he is not.
So then you'll be in the shop, and then you are physically present, and that tends to spur more interest. Which sometimes you can split off into another group. Sometimes you can add to your current group. But you always have to have some sort of size management. At some point, you have to be. It hurts, but you have to tell people, I know you want to play my game, but I'm sorry, you can't. We have too many people. And however too many is depends on you as a GM. For me, frankly, I like to cut at 6, which is funny because most of my groups were at 7 or 8 for a while. But that's it for the questions. Now we're on to Nope.
That's right. Nope. We went to go see Nope this weekend because it was my birthday weekend. Or last weekend. Sorry, by the time you listen to this. So go ahead, Graham, before I start with the plot.
Nope, 2022.
Before you do that, spoilers. I always forget to say this. There will be spoilers. This movie will be spoiled. So if you don't want to listen, go to the timestamp and you can go to Graham IDK after this. So spoiler alert. Stop listening if you haven't seen the movie yet. Okay, go ahead.
Nope, 2022. Director, writer, Jordan Peele. Stars Daniel Kaluuya. I think I pronounced that right. Keke Palmer, Brandon Perea. I'm just butchering everyone's names. I'm sorry. And then, as far as budget of $68 million, so far has grossed 44. So hasn't made its money back yet, but it probably will. Yeah, and time 2 hours 10 minutes.
All right, so it starts off with Namu, whatever this Bible verse, 3:6. I will cast abominations, filth upon you, make you vile, and make you a spectacle. The Bible verse, which opens the film. So, in 1998, on the soundstage of the sitcom Gordy's Home, the titular chimpanzee animal actor attacks and maims 3 of its co-stars after being startled by a pop of a helium balloon. The show's youngest actor, Ricky Jupe Park, hides under the table and is traumatized by the experience. Gordy finds Jupe and is unusually friendly to him before. In present day, the ranch owner Otis Hayward Sr. trains and handles horses for film and television productions. Haywood claims that he is the unnamed man on the famous horse in the motion picture was his great-great-grandfather when Otis Sr. is killed by a nickel that fell unexpectedly from the sky. His children, Otis O.J. Hayward Jr. and Emerald M. Hayward, inherit the ranch. O.J. tries to keep the business afloat and maintain his father's legacy, while M. seeks fame and fortune in Hollywood.
Yeah, kind of interesting that they did use the first motion picture, which is a picture of a guy riding a horse. I think it's 12 images in sequence. It was a big deal because before that, no one ever actually was 100% certain how horses ran. Because, well, when you look at a horse run, it's hard to, you're trying to track 4 different objects continuously. So that wound up being a big deal. The intro with the unexplained objects falling from the sky, because what happens is just stuff starts raining from the heavens, and you have no idea what it is. One of them hits the father in the eye, and then he sort of rises up, falls over you, so you have no idea what's going on. But that does set up the weirdness of the rest of the movie. Also, the fact that you start with a chimpanzee, and it appears to be completely disconnected from the rest of the movie, and it kind of is for like the first third of the movie.
Yeah, like that whole part is just like its own little thing, and then we get into basically setting up the ranch, doing all the ranch hand stuff, and like setting up the, getting the horses ready and walking, and then all this like keys, and just you don't really know it until like you see their father in the hospital, and you see like basically his face just.
Well, it's just his eye.
Yeah, well, the side of his face was basically destroyed. And it's like he's dead, and he was killed by a nickel. And OJ Otis Jr. is like, that never really made sense to me. Like later on in the movie,
Yeah.
like, why did this happen?
Later on, they say that the best guess was it fell out of a prop plane, and he's like, I did not see any airplanes. But that it does help set up that this is going to be weird.
Yeah, he's like, it's like, oh, it was just like a plane, something fell out, like all the like loose change or whatever, like a plane's baggage thing opened up or something like that. So 6 months later, while filming a commercial for a prominent cinematographer, Antlers Hoist, one of the horses reacts violently when the crew fails to respect boundaries. The Haywards are fired from the project, and the ranch's financial woes force Odie to sell horses to Jupe, who has moved nearby and set up a small theme park called Jupiter's Claim, where he exploits his story of the Gordy incident for profit. And M encourages OJ to sell the ranch to Jupe, feeling no connection to the business and recalling that their fathers broke his promise to teach her how to train a horse of her own. The Haywards notice that their electricity is fluctuating and that their horses are vanishing or violently reacting to the unknown presence. They discover an unidentified flying object that has been devouring their horses and spitting out organic matter, which caused Otis's death, and the siblings decide to document the evidence of the UFO's existence and recruit Fry's electronics employee Angel Torres to set up surveillance cameras, electrical interference from the UFOs, and the praying mantis on the cameras prevent them from getting one clear footage. But Angel notices a nearby cloud that never moves. They deduce that this is a UFO's hiding place.
What I thought was interesting is this is the second movie we've seen where Fry's is featured prominently. This one, it's actually kind of like a huge element because it's Angel's employer, and also explains where and how they get all the technology that they use to try and film all over the place.
What was the first one?
I don't remember.
You need to remember that. If you're gonna say there's two, and I don't remember the second one. Nah, don't worry about it now. Go ahead and say what you're going to say.
So, anyways, but yeah, it's just kind of weird to see Fry's because we drive past a Fry's that is closed down, and Felisha says a single tear every time we go by because she can't get her gadgets from Fry's anymore.
There was such a nice store, and then it's just gone. But yeah, so basically, their horses start getting taken. Like, there's like title cards of like the horses when they start getting like ate up and stuff like that. And they start, they don't tell the guy, but he kind of knows like, oh, they're, out in this ranch area when he finds it. And he's kind of like, well, talking to OJ, like, my girlfriend just broke up with me because she got like on the CW show. So he's kind of like off, like, the can I help you type thing. And they set up all the cameras on their ranch, and they kind of go probably into more debt trying to get all those surveillance cameras. And that's a pretty hefty setup that they had there to like catch everything. And then he comes back and was like, he plays back the footage, is like, you see this? He's like, that cloud hasn't moved. So yeah, there's basically something in the cloud. Literally. Not like, put it in the cloud. There's something in the cloud.
Yeah, and that cloud winds up being a pretty successful way of like showing you how if you weren't paying attention, you would never notice like a way for the aliens to get away with being in the area.
Yeah, so like the first half of the movie is kind of setting up, like they kind of skip over, like they go like Jupe, he was on like another TV show before he went on like Gordy's Home, and they go back and how that all started, how basically the little balloon pops and it like triggered the ape, and he just like goes to town on like 3 of the family members, but not Jupe because they have like a connection. He like reaches his hand out. I know they're probably going to talk about it, and he reaches his hand out, and they have like that first on air like blue thing, where they like do the fist pound, and he gets shot in the head. That whole thing was kind of seems separate. Like, I don't know if they want to tie it in on how he like makes his money, because he has like a separate room of like Gordy stuff, and there's this whole thing with the shoe, which I just think is just, they just put like that in there.
Well, the shoe actually worked pretty well because it's a shoe sitting on its heel, point outwards with a spot of blood on it. And you initially think it's somehow connected with like alien abduction because everything else has been alien abduction stuff. Later on, it comes out it was a shoe one of his co-stars was wearing on set that just happened to sit upright.
So, okay. Jupe notices a live show in Jupiter's claim called the Star Lasso Experience, planning to use a horse as bait to lure out the UFO, which he has been feeding the Hayward's horses for months in front of paying audiences. The UFO arrives and devours Jupe, his family, and the audience, generating a mini tornado. OJ deduces that the UFO is not an alien spaceship, but a predatory terrestrial cyped creature asserting dominance, with sightings of its species originated the UFO legend, and that it does not eat those who do not look at it directly at it, utilizing similar methods to those used to break and train horses. OJ believes they can influence the creature's behavior to get footage of it without being killed. After a second attempt at recording the footage, the creature, now dubbed Jean Jacket by the Haywards, from its cloud nearest to foil again by the Mantis. The three decide to hire Hoist for assistance. Okay, so there's a lot for this. So we kind of missed her being mad at her dad because she didn't get to like train the horse called Jean Jacket. That's why they call it.
The horse's name was Jean Jacket, and it was supposed to be her horse, but they started filming. Oh, it was Scorpion King, and they needed Jean Jacket for Scorpion King, and she was all pissed because her dad had just ignored the fact that it was supposed to be her horse, and he just turned it over into a movie horse, and her brother actually acknowledged her being interested in the horse. Sorry, I was trying to figure out what other movie Fries was in.
Oh my god. So like this guy has basically been feeding the horses. Before this part, Keke Palmer's character M goes out and steals one of the horse trainer things to like kind of lure out the monster. And there's a great part with OJ, like because the lights are flickering, he has to go get one of the horses because it escaped. They figure out like later on that it doesn't eat like the plastic. It doesn't like plastic, so that's how they kind of set it up for defeat it. But he goes into like because whenever I think the lights go out, so that's how they know it's coming, because it like triggers like the lights and stuff to kind of, that's when you know. So he goes to like the barn, and the lights go out, and he goes out there and he flicks them back on, turns around. I was like, something's gonna happen. They go out while he's still there, and then he turns around and you see these like little aliens, and you just hear like, there wasn't that many people in the movie theater, but you hear nope, because they start, there's 3 of them, and then he just basically tries to get his phone out, and then they start walking towards him. He goes nope, and turns around and like walks farther away, and they slowly peek their head out from the corner, and then it comes to find out it's like his 3 kids, like say, don't mess with Jupiter's ranch. I thought that was good.
That was good. Also, it was actually one of the like legitimately scarier parts of the movie, because you really thought that there were aliens creeping around inside the horse, inside the stable.
Oh yeah, because one of them like pops up when he's like walking by the horse stable, like bloop, and it's like, ah! So yeah, that was pretty cool. So like, yeah, and then he basically is like, hey, I'm feeding this monster thing, and it usually comes like later in the day. And that's when, like, I thought this movie did very good with the trailers, because there was that lady you see with like her mouth like ripped off, and that was from Gordy. That was his sister in the show.
Or was it his mom?
No, it was his sister.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, did really well, because when I saw it in the trailer, I was like, is she an alien? Is that what's going on with this?
Yeah, that's what I was like. Is she something? But like, it literally like it's like a different cut than the trailer too, and they all get sucked up and eaten, and like the police are like, I guess it was a flash flood. Okay. To counteract Jean Jacket's effects on electronics, Hoist brings a handheld IMAX film camera to capture film footage. A trespassing man in a black TMZ reporter is thrown from his motorcycle because of his interference, and Kasoon, while begging OJ to film in the event hoist, overcome by the sight of Jean Jacket, allows himself to be devoured along with his camera, ruining the group's plan and forcing the remaining three to separate. After Angel survives an attack from Jean Jacket by wrapping himself in barbed wire, revealing its true form as being resembling a biblical angel, OJ lures the creature away from M while she uses the motorcycle to travel to Jupiter's claim. There, M untethers a large helium balloon tube man mascot into Jean Jacket, which it begins feeding on due to its eyes, while M uses an analog camera to track the to a camera in an attraction to photograph Jean Jacket before the helium in its balloon explodes, killing it. With Jean Jacket dead, the picture as proof of his existence, M sees OJ on his horse outside the park, galloping in a manner resembling the horse in the motion picture.
That line about how Jean Jacket remembered a biblical angel is completely not at all relevant. That is not correct.
It is Wikipedia.
I in no way thought that looked like a biblical angel. I thought they did a good job of making a bizarre, beautiful thing that you didn't quite understand what was going on. Like it has this thing where it keeps flaring out flutter stuff at whatever's staring at it. You don't have any idea what's going on, which is perfect for what it's doing.
I thought it looked like something from like Mario or something. It looked like a squid to me.
The big thing that would make it look like a biblical angel is a ludicrous number of eyes. A lot of biblical angels have eyes all over the place, like being wheels within wheels covered in eyes. Which is probably why all the biblical angels proceed with things like "be not afraid," because they would be terrifying if you actually saw them.
Yes, I'd be like, why are there so many eyes?
Yeah.
So yeah, they basically, the guy on the film said they call him up to like ask him to like help with the camera. He says no at first, and then he comes back. He's like, that cloud has, because he's already there on the ranch when they come back. Because at this point, the cloud gets angry and wants to basically eat them and like kills all the people, all the stuff out of their pockets, and then like all the blood gets on their house. And that's when he shows up at like, that cloud hasn't moved, and he brings his little analog camera and he's just like, this is amazing. And I don't know why he decides to get eaten. That's so weird.
That was one thing I think was a big downer. But it was supposed to be, I think he was going to film all the way up to the consumption, but it didn't make any sense. There had been nothing to give like this. There had been enough to give this character the depth to make him so focused on filmmaking he was willing to be suicidal.
Yeah, I mean, he's like one of the best, but like, yeah, that was weird to me. And then they all kind of split up, but I'm glad they all live because they're all like people of color. I was like, yeah, the black guys didn't die. And the TMZ guy gets thrown off his bike because it's electric. That shit was funny.
Yeah, they put him in a helmet so you couldn't see who it was, and that was that felt a little bit out of. I feel like the movie unraveled towards the end.
I thought it was funny. Like, it was just a TMZ guy, and then he gets thrown from his bike because the monster's coming, and it's like, he's like, and his arm is like broken, and OJ is like, sorry, dude, I can't help you. He's like, I gotta go with the plan because he's trying to lure the monster out. The guy gets eaten, and then it just goes haywire basically from there. Monster's just like, I'm gonna eat everybody now.
Yeah, like I said, it kind of falls to pieces at the end.
I still enjoyed it because the black people got to live. But yeah, that's basically the gist of it. So it's like a giant monster in the sky, or I guess it's an angel, but
it's not an angel.
Like a squid.
It's a giant monster in the sky that eats people. And for a while, it's been being the reveal that Jupe was feeding the horses to the aliens was a good. That was done well.
Also, like, what's the actor's name? He's in Walking Dead too. I can't remember.
Stephen Yeun.
Yeah, that it made it seem like he was going to be a big part of the movie, but nope. He is basically killed in the first half of the movie.
Excuse me, Stephen Yeun. My apologies.
Yeah, like the first half of this movie.
Right, but his is what the whole thing about. They open up with that chimpanzee thing, and his plot is all about that chimpanzee attacking and murdering people, which is one of the things that it helps make his death more sudden because they've invested a bunch of time in this character, and all of a sudden he just gets eaten. just whoop, he's gone. So that helped, but it was kind of a strange counterpoint. I will say the chimp did look good, but you could tell it was CGI. I did not know it was actually an actor until I checked later.
Yeah, I didn't know either. But yeah, so that's Nope. I enjoyed it. The first part, it was a little slow in the beginning. Like, it's not like, well, I mean, of course it takes time to build up, but like, you know, it was a little slow, like the first half, and then it started to pick up, which I think helped the movie. Like, you remember the last half of it instead of the beginning, because that whole monkey, like Gordy's home, you were like, what is it starting off with this? Like, what is this? Like, it was like a whole separate thing.
Yeah, it was a way to get blood on the screen earlier, I guess, too. But it did raise the question for me of what themes was Jordan Peele trying to do, because his previous two movies he had, and Felicia's going to be mad about this, and she's going to be able to talk about it in a moment. But Poole's previous two movies both clearly were saying something, unclear what, about, what's the first one?
Get Out.
In Get Out, it was about white people desiring black people's bodies, and then in Us, it was about sort of the class/racial divide in America. All right, what are you saying about it? Unclear. This one, but Felicia's going to talk about her opinions on messages.
Oh, I just think he can do whatever he wants at this point, because people like to, like in Us, they was like, well, what did this mean? And what did that mean? I was like, you know what? Sometimes a movie is just a movie. He can put things in there and never tell you. I'm pretty sure he'll never tell you, like, what things mean. Like, people are, like, really worried about that shoe. I'm pretty sure somebody's like, well, it means something about the aliens and the shoes on our feet or something. I was like, you know what? I just watched the movie. Like, if I watch it again, maybe I'll catch something I missed the first time. But, like, it's a movie. Like, I feel like sometimes he just puts stuff in there because, like, oh, they'll probably think something like this. Put that in there. That's what I think.
See, this is where I think you're getting a little overbroad with themes. Yes, it's possible to read far too much into a movie and pick specific symbol, like the fact it was a buffalo nickel that killed Dad and all that stuff. Like, it's possible to overly read into it, but clearly there have been themes in this previous works. This one, the only guess that anyone had was actually Whitney's, which was that it was something about abusing animals in Hollywood.
Yeah, I think that goes along with the lines. But, I mean, yeah, there probably is a theme for this movie, but also, this is not a horror movie. This is like a thriller. This is, whoever marketed it, make it seem like a horror movie. I guess that will probably get people into the seats, but like Get Out was like...
Get Out was a horror movie.
I guess so. Maybe for you. But for me, I'm just like, yeah, that's how like... No, but it's like a horror movie. I don't think Us probably like a horror thriller. This was definitely just thriller movie.
The only real horror we had was the Gordy's sequences. That was really the only times where things were actually like horrifying. Everything else was very much a thriller because you knew that eventually the Haywoods would have some sort of confrontation with the UFO, and you assumed they would win because they were the main characters. So yeah, it was much more of a thriller than a horror movie.
But yes, I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was really good. Like, the first half was a little bit slow, but this is his like third movie. Hopefully he keeps coming out with like thrillers and stuff. Definitely Get Out was my number one, and this is like a toss up between these two, which is I think I'm gonna switch it. I said this one, then Us. I think I'm gonna go in order: Get Out, Us, then Nope.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, and part of it for us too is that for you and I is that Us they're very different movies. They're not. Us is much more. There's some slasher elements, but it's much more of a straight horror film. Yeah. My recommendation is maybe see it. What's yours?
I say go see it. So first of all, because it's like the trailers really don't tell you much, which is nice. Because there was just a whole bunch of trailers that dropped. Before I start getting into those, I give this a 4 out of 5 because black people finally. This is the second movie black people did die. Yay!
It did kind of feel like they put the cinematographer in there so they have a white person die a little bit.
That's fine. Well, there was a shit ton of white people that died.
Yeah, but like a real,
like 44.
Like a fairly major white character.
I guess that's true. But I was. What do you rate it?
All right, said it.
No, whatever.
I would probably.
You said you liked it. Now you're.
Well, I've thought about it more. I've processed it more, and I just it didn't really do anything for me. Like I said, to me, it fell apart at the end.
Well, anyway, there was San Diego Comic-Con, and there was a D&D trailer that dropped out. I was like, we gotta watch it, Graham.
Yeah, apparently it's set in the Forgotten Realms, which is a 0% shock to anyone because that's been like the primary setting for D&D for decades.
We haven't watched it yet, but maybe we'll talk about it in the next podcast. But yeah, San Diego Comic-Con, there's just a shit ton of trailers that dropped. The Wakanda Forever, which I'm staying away from because I don't want anything spoiled for me for this. I'm not watching anything. The John Wick, there's like a whole just list in a playlist. So, but we got Graham IDK. You ready?
Yes.
This week's word, our phrase, is on one.
On one?
Yes.
I'm going to go with some kind of a musical thing where you're like on one, like you start on one, like you count to 3, 2, 1. That's what I'm going to go with because otherwise I have no idea.
You were off beat on that, and that is wrong. On one. Just generally tripping, tweaking, weird, acting a fool, blacking out, going off, not necessarily due to drugs, though that's the obvious reference. So like, oh man, he's on one.
Wow.
Like tripping.
There's absolutely no way I would know that.
Really? Oh, I picked a good one. Woo! Yes.
The thing with these two is you could be making them all up and I would have no way of knowing. No, I guess on Urban Dictionary. There's also a whole bunch of fake sex acts on Urban Dictionary. So as I've established, I don't believe Urban Dictionary for anything.
Anyway, that is all for the podcast. Please send us some mail if you want us to read your questions. We did like pretty much a questions episode. I got a lot of knowledge about sports and what it's like, so you can literally ask us anything. So send us something at damnyourtallpod@gmail.com. Follow the Instagram damnyourtallpod_ and also Twitter at damnyourtall DYTpod. Sorry, it's DYTpod _ and DYTpod on Twitter. So yeah, follow those. I'll be posting stuff on there, especially for Gen Con, and on my social media, Fifi_J247 on Instagram and Twitter. Follow Graham, GD Mildrum on Instagram, Facebook. I don't know if you use it. LinkedIn, all those socials and stuff. And we'll catch you on the next one. Okay, bye.
Bye.